Welcome to the Vine Resources podcast show. Welcome to another edition of the Vine Resources podcast show. Today I've got joining me Erik Huizer. Erik is the CEO of GÉANT. Erik, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
I hope I pronounced your surname and the company properly as well.
And not quite. My name is Erik Huizer. Pronounced in Dutch, it's usually quite difficult for non-Dutch people to pronounce. And the name of the company is GÉANT.
GÉANT.
Pronounced the French way.
Can you, Erik, thank you for that and thank you for the clarification. Can you share with our listeners a bit about what you do within the organisation?
GÉANT is an association, really. It is an association established in the Netherlands, and it's an association of all European research and education networks. So every country in Europe has a research and education network. That's a network that connects higher education institutes like universities, applied universities, colleges, and research institutes together, so that they can exchange data and services. And all these research networks in 40 countries of Europe, so not just the EU, but larger than that, 40 countries in Europe, have together formed an association to help them collaborate, but also to run the international network connectivity. So between the European countries, but also from Europe to the United States, to Canada, to Latin America, to Africa, to Southeast Asia, and Near Asia, etc.
Fantastic. And I think you've got about 120, 130 employees there in the Netherlands. Is that right?
Well, not just in the Netherlands. We are a truly multinational non-profit association. We have got our main offices here in Amsterdam with about 40 people, and we got about something between 80 and 90 people in Cambridge in the UK.
Fantastic. And Erik, what does a typical day in the business look like for you as the CEO?
Well, as any CEO, my business is interrupt driven, I would say. So you just sit down and wait for the next interrupt, which is usually secretary saying you have a next meeting. So I have lots and lots of meetings, but since I have 40 members in 40 countries, and I have two branches, the main one here in Amsterdam and the other one in Cambridge, I'm often on the road and having these meetings in either one of those countries or in Cambridge. Mm-hmm. So I spend a lot of my time in other countries, and of course a lot of my time on airports and in airplanes.
And can you perhaps share with us someone who perhaps has been perhaps a person who's had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? Maybe it was even a mentor to you, and how that person impacted your life.
Yeah, that would be my previous boss in a previous work. I used to work at SurfNet. SurfNet is the Dutch Education and Research Network, and my boss at the time, Kees Nekkers, was a real inspiration for me. He's always been very good at looking at longer term visions and working backwards from that, and then inspiring personnel to work towards that vision. And the way he also always was working on internet developments, on accountability, transparency, that has always inspired me, and I try to do the same in that respect.
Fantastic. That's nice to share that from him as well. I'm curious to find out about employee engagement within your organisation, and as you said there, you've got people spread across the UK and the Netherlands as well. How do you keep your employees engaged from the top within the organisation?
Well, let me first start out by saying that if you want to work for an organisation like GÉANT, those people are already quite motivated if they come in, right? We are a high-tech ICT company, but we are not a company, we're a non-profit, mm-hmm. which means that we in no way can pay salaries on par with real ICT commercial companies.
Yeah.
So if you come to work for GÉANT, the professionals that come to work here already are somewhat inherently motivated to work in this non-profit environment and to deal with all the researchers and educators all around Europe and around the globe, really. And so it is already the motivation is already there, and to make sure that it stays there, my method is really to work bottom up with the organization and our members, of course, to define our strategy, our strategic goals. And then every year with the staff, all the staff together, we try to set the goals for the next year based on these larger strategic goals. And once we've done that, I pretty much try to leave every staff member to do whatever he or she thinks he needs doing to achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. I mean, we hire professionals, and so they should be better at their job than I am. So micromanaging doesn't make any sense. So what I try to do is to push the mandate as well as the responsibility out as much as possible, including budgets, so that they have their own, that my staff can do, you know, what they think is necessary to achieve these strategic goals. And on the whole, that works really well, and that keeps people motivated because they have their own responsibilities, they have their own budgets, etc.
What do you think, in your opinion, Erik, is the biggest challenge facing leaders in today's market?
The speed of change is probably I would say the speed of change combined with the quite uncertain political climate that you now have both in Europe, certainly in the UK and in the US, which is influencing at least my company that is multinational in quite a huge way. And then, you know, everything changes so fast due to information technology, which means that as a leader of a company, you have to be really flexible, and you have to be able to throw away assumptions that you always thought were, you know, solid and there, and be able to work with new assumptions and new insights pretty fast to make new decisions.
If there was one piece of business advice over the years that you've received, the one piece that you really find valuable, what would it be?
Be transparent. You know, and that, I think that was always the case, but certainly in today's age of digitization, cameras, and communication between people, and multiple communication channels that people have, not being transparent always catches up with you. Mm-hmm. So I think being as transparent as possible is the best advice that I would give.
You mentioned earlier about the differences with working in the commercial environment to a non-profit, but I'm curious to find out how, when you've brought people into the organization, how you help them to understand the culture of the company.
That's a good one. I don't think we have a very obvious tactic there. We just throw everybody into the pool, I would say, and then see if they can swim. Mm-hmm. We do, however, and I think that works best, is we take new employees as soon as possible with us on trips to visit either a conference or work group or task force where our customers meet, so that they can feel the culture, see how we work with the customers, and that we are really an association and not a directive company with customers, but an association that is owned by our members, and they happen to be our customers at the same time, and that's a different situation. So we need to really get that sense across, and that works best to confront them with customers as soon as possible.
Erik, what have you seen as the one mistake that business leaders are making more frequently than others?
Losing touch with with the real workers in your company. I think that's especially if you see the things about banks that you hear nowadays. I think that you see that there's a disconnect somewhere in the companies about what customers want, and so the people in the banks who work with customers are confronted with, and then what CEOs decide, and that goes for other companies as well, I think. So making sure you're in touch with every aspect of your company without micromanaging it is I think the thing to do. And the good thing about current day and age is that you have tools to do that. You can use tools like Slack, for example, to communicate with everybody in your company and not just the top layer, and make sure that you understand what is going on in the rest of your company.
How do you see your industry changing, even in the not-for-profit space? But how do you see the wider industry changing in the future, and how will that even impact your ability to attract the right talent for you?
The trick with education and research networking, the business we're in, is that we always need to be very aware of what research and educators need, and we need to quickly be able to provide that. And that if we didn't do that, there would no reason for us to exist. The commercial providers would be serving the universities, and that would be it. So we need to be really on top of our game in being very close to the consumers. In our case, researchers, educators, students. And the changes I foresee is that we're now getting, we were dealing with a generation that gradually grew into the internet, so to say. They started out with pencils and they ended up with keyboards. But the generation that is now following in the universities, the researchers that are now coming up and becoming the professors, etc. That's the generation that has been born with the keyboard, and that means that we need to be aware that their demands will probably be different, and will maybe even change and faster than it has up to now, and that's what we try and prepare for, and that reflects in our hiring. We try to hire people from that same generation, so that we are sure that that our company is having the people of the same age that can communicate with those people in the right way.
Absolutely. Erik, if you had your time again and were starting out again, perhaps giving your 20-year-old self advice, what's the one thing that you'd say to yourself now looking back?
I would buy sex.com immediately. and knowing that I was sold for $1 million later on. I've invested most of my working life, and that's by now 35 years almost, in the internet, and I would not change that if I go back to that. But knowing all the developments, I could have made a lot more money out of it. But then again, I love the non-profit environment, so even there, I don't know whether I would change that. Apart from buying sex.com and making $1 million out of that.
Well, maybe there'll be opportunities in the future for something new. I'm sure there will be. There's lots of change coming, of course. Erik, thank you so much for sharing that with us. What's the best way if people want to find out more about the company or connect with your good self?
I think the best way is to go to our website, www.GÉANT, that's spelled GEANT.org.
Thank you very much, Erik, and really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you. Bye-bye.